Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm PJOP. Today, I'm really excited for this video because first, I'm riding the very scenic North Han River bike trail, so I hope you guys enjoy the view. But also, I'm thrilled to introduce something pretty unique. I've just released a new book titled Who I Am, a memoir of an American Korean in search of identity. Now, this memoir is all about my personal journey, navigating life between two cultures, two identities, and ultimately finding my place in the world. But more than me talking about it, here's something special. I decided to use AI to help create a podcast that gives a great overview of my book. Yep, you heard that right, AI. It's a fun and fresh way to experience key highlights from my story. Now, the AI-generated podcast dives into the themes, experiences, and reflections shared in Who I Am, offering a taste of what you can expect. I really hope you guys enjoy this podcast, and if you do, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell. Your support means the world to me. And if the podcast piques your interest, you can grab your copy of Who I Am right now. It's available in paperback and Kindle on Amazon. And for those in Korea, you can find the paperback edition at the Gilbo online bookstore as well. So thanks so much for your support, and now enjoy the podcast.
Right, let's unpack this. Today we're diving deep into a really remarkable personal journey.
Yeah, it explores these intricate layers of identity, belonging, and, well, navigating different cultures.
Exactly. Our source material is this captivating memoir. It takes us from 1970s Korea all the way to different cities in the US and then back again.
And it really shows how one person wrestled with who they are amidst just constant change and some pretty surprising turns.
What's so compelling, I think, is how his experiences, even though they're deeply personal, they really illuminate these universal themes, searching for a place, understanding your roots.
And the huge impact of unexpected events, right?
Yeah.
Our mission here is basically to pull out the key insights from this unique story.
Hopefully giving you some aha moments about resilience, negotiating culture, and how the self just keeps evolving.
Definitely. So where does this journey begin?
It starts back in 1970s Korea, a nation still, reeling from the Korean War's aftermath.
Right. And the author was born into this period of really deep poverty.
Yeah, which prompted President Park Chung-hee to kickstart this rapid industrialization.
Which, people later called the miracle on the Han River because the economic growth was just unprecedented.
But it came at a massive cost for the average worker, didn't it?
Absolutely. The source material paints a grim picture. People working over 14 hours a day.
Wow.
Low pay, living in these unsanitary slums, often without running water. It's really tough stuff.
So it's not surprising that emigration became a really popular choice, even with challenges like racism and language barriers waiting.
Yeah, for many, anything seemed like an improvement. Anything at all.
And so 1977, that's when the author's journey to America began. The image we get is just incredibly vivid.
Mm-hmm.
He's 3, his brother's 1, and their mother is navigating JFK Airport. Alone, pushing these very large Korean immigrant suitcases.
Right, not just bags, but these huge, vertically packed duffel bags.
Filled with essentials, right? Dried anchovies, chili pepper paste, dried seaweed, heavy blankets.
Basically carrying their whole culture, their whole life in those bags. It's the start of their quest for the American dream.
But, and this is interesting, their family story takes a bit of a unique turn here.
Yeah, unlike a lot of Korean immigrants who might have gone into, say, dry cleaning or convenience stores.
His father chose a completely different path to escape poverty, ministry, seminary studies.
A Union Theological Seminary in New York City, no less.
And this choice, it was deeply rooted in his mother's faith, his grandmother's determination.
Right, she'd been raised by a single mom in post-war Korea, eventually became a Bible teacher and evangelist through the church.
So the church really became their means of provision.
That's such a departure from the typical narrative we might expect.
It is, and it brings us to this core concept for their family, Jehovah Jireh.
Meaning the Lord will provide, from Genesis 22.
Exactly. And this isn't just about, jobs or food, it's deeper.
It goes back to God providing the ram for Abraham instead of Isaac.
And the author talks about how his family, like across generations, experienced this provision through the church, through a sense of calling, through grace.
They might not have been rich by American standards, maybe not the typical American dream outcome,
But they always felt they had more than enough, an abundant life in a way.
So how do you see that playing out beyond just material things? What kind of provision are we really talking about?
Well, I think that's the crucial point, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
This belief, Jehovah Jireh, it wasn't just about physical comfort, it fundamentally reshaped how they even defined abundance.
Right, so the key insight here is how this deep conviction, even when things were scarce or uncertain,
It fostered this incredible resilience, this sense of more than enough.
that's a really powerful mindset for anyone facing huge odds, isn't it?
Absolutely. It let them take these leaps into the unknown, trusting they'd have what they needed, even without the usual safety nets.
Okay, so the family settles in America, and then this whole new chapter of identity confusion starts.
Centered around his name, Joseph Insuk Park.
Names are so powerful, as the author reflects. Big identity markers.
And the family decides to adopt American names. Joseph, Albert, Daniel.
Right. And for the author, Joe quickly becomes this sort of alter ego.
Yeah, the confident, successful, outgoing, Americanized version of himself.
What does that simple name change really tell us about the immediate pressures of assimilation?
Yeah.
It seems so fast.
It's striking, isn't it? How that simple act, adopting an American name, it wasn't just a label change.
No, it was like an instant internal and external shift. Almost embracing a new persona.
Trying to shed one identity and put on another, it really signals that intense pressure to conform, to belong in this new culture immediately.
A powerful point about how identity can shift just with a name.
And speaking of shifts, his early childhood was just constant movement.
Yeah, lots of moves. From New York, they went briefly near Madison, Wisconsin.
That's where his youngest brother Daniel was born.
Right, before settling for a while in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
And his father started Korean immigrant churches there, which meant these long Sunday drives.
Nearly 180 kilometers, shuttling between two church sites.
That's a lot of backseat time for a kid. And so many new beginnings.
If we zoom out a bit, this really highlights a vital truth about our formative years, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, we see it so vividly in the author's stories from Chattanooga. Like Ginger, the girl who ate raw bell peppers.
Oh yeah, and whose dad threatened them with a shotgun.
Right, or Randy, who got him to steal Big League Chew, his introduction to petty crime.
And Brian, the cool kid with the video game console who he shared a dog funeral with.
These relationships, however brief or quirky, they leave a real mark.
For sure.
It really highlights how our early surroundings, our friendships, they significantly influence who we become. They shape our worldview, maybe even our moral compass, long before we realize it.
They definitely did for him. Which brings us to Randolph, New Jersey, what he calls his glory years.
1983 to 1985.
Yeah, this period was just soaked in American pop culture. His first movie theater experience was Superman the Third.
In Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, playing football, crushes on pretty blonde girls.
He felt completely, totally American, living the dream, it sounds like.
Seemingly, yes. But then comes this really jarring realization. Even though he knew hardly anything about Korea, barely spoke the language, even hated Korean food.
He remembers that moment it hits him. I was different. I was not American. I was Korean.
Yeah, he mentions that conversation with his mom, asking why they couldn't eat normal food like spaghetti or hamburger.
Instead of babhago doenjang, rice and bean curd stew.
Right, that moment just underscores this deep identity conflict. Feeling one way inside, but realizing external markers define you differently.
And that denial of his Koreanness, it quickly turned into this deep dislike, right? Especially because he felt Korea had, nothing to offer compared to other Asian cultures and pop culture then.
But that perception gets challenged hard in 1985.
When the family is forced to return to Korea.
His father got this new, apparently quite lucrative job at a Christian university in Daegu.
And the author was promised this luxurious Youngma mansion.
But the reality was, quite different.
Indeed, no limousines. Instead, an old Kia Bongo van. Later, a Hyundai Pony.
Because foreign cars weren't allowed then for many people. The contrast was stark.
And not just in transportation. He talks about that strange feeling, saluting the Korean flag every morning at school.
Felt like betraying America, he said.
Yeah, it really points to the profound emotional toll of cultural displacement suddenly being thrown back.
And life in Korea brought immediate culture shock.
He found himself constantly being called American boy, That classmates...
Feeling like a novelty and anomaly in 5th grade, he called it a cultural electric chair.
Wow, that's such a visceral image. It really paints a picture of that sudden, intense shock he must have felt, going from feeling Americanized to just completely out of place.
It really does. And the challenges went right into the classroom.
Korean schools, no cafeterias, students pulling their banchan, their side dishes, for lunch.
He faced public humiliation too, like having to read Korean aloud like a toddler in front of everyone. And then there was the physical punishment from teachers. Slapping, forced kneeling.
Getting hit with pointing sticks, which were basically 2x4s.
Yeah. Fear in grades were the main motivators. It fostered this deep belief in privilege through merit.
What this really reveals is how different cultural values create entirely different educational landscapes, right? And how that deeply shapes a child's experience of learning and belonging.
Exactly. And speaking of deeply seated concepts...
Let's talk about hon.
This profound concept in the Korean soul, representing this deep grief, struggle, pain.
Rooted in a history of just immense hardship. The Japanese annexation in the early 1900s.
Where Koreans were forced to take Japanese names, speak Japanese, endure severe poverty, inhumane working conditions.
Under harsh military dictators right up to the lead up to the 1980s.
What's really striking here is the author's observation about it.
What's that?
He notes that the hand of the past, that collective suffering, it drove Koreans to seek success, often at any cost, as a way to escape that historical pain.
Okay, I can see that.
But now, those very standards, that intense drive, it creates personal misery, pressure, and silent suffering.
And we see that reflected, he argues, in things like the world's lowest birth rate and high depression and suicide rates in Korea today.
Yeah. It offers this profound insight into how collective trauma can fuel ambition. But if it's left unaddressed, it can actually create new forms of societal suffering. It's a complex legacy.
It's a really heavy concept, but Han has this counterbalance, doesn't it?
Yes, its fun-loving brother called Hung.
Representing joy, excitement, celebration.
And the author explains they're inseparable, Hung and Hun. Hung is like this necessary release valve from all the suffering and hard work.
He mentions imjugamu, to drink booze, sing, and dance, as a key expression.
You see it in those Korean company dinners that often end up in noraebang karaoke rooms.
With plenty of soju, beer halls, and chimek.
Which is fried chicken and beer, a classic combo.
Right. This cultural duality, Han and Hung, it offers a really profound insight into human resilience, I think.
How so?
Well, suffering isn't just endured passively, right? It's often balanced by this necessary, vibrant release.
That's a great way to put it. It's a powerful reminder that finding your Hung, your joy, your celebration, it isn't just a distraction from Han.
It's an essential part of navigating and enduring life's deepest struggles.
And this also sheds light on the author's teenage years, actually.
Right, because despite his athletic talent scoring 90 points in a pickup basketball game, winning middle school MVP.
His social circle in high school started changing things up.
Yeah, friends bringing girls and then bottles of soju and packs of cigarettes to the basketball court.
And he admits he participated in this drinking culture, hanging out at restaurangs.
Which were more spots for drinking and smoking than just eating.
And fascinatingly, his English skills became his secret weapon.
On meeting group blind dates and sogeting one-on-one blind dates to impress girls.
What does that specific detail tell us about his strategy for navigating and maybe even leveraging his otherness back in Korean society?
It shows a pretty shrewd adaptability, doesn't it? He instinctively figured out how to use his unique background to his advantage. Found this unexpected social currency in his English fluency.
It's a subtle but really powerful example of how people can turn perceived differences into strengths, especially in social situations.
Which kind of leads us into his college years and his career path.
Right, facing those incredibly tough Korean college entrance exams.
His father, with surprising wisdom, encouraged him to apply to U.S. universities instead.
Even suggesting places like Harvard, Yale, Oxford, Cambridge.
Yeah, apparently the polished transcripts from his old high school, maybe enhanced a bit for publicity, helped him get those applications in.
So his first actual college stop wasn't the US, it was Canberra, Australia in 1993.
Right. He describes being completely on my own. Lost his luggage immediately.
And had a memorable, if brief, run-in with a wild kangaroo.
He also quickly became known as the best beer chugger among the Korean students there.
And had that close call with a venomous red-backed spider in his shower.
Fearing not just death, but the sheer embarrassment of being found naked.
It's It's those small, vivid, almost absurd details that really bring the human experience of navigating a new world to life, you know?
Totally. So from Australia, he reluctantly moves to the University of Oregon.
A move he initially resisted, but it ended up being one of his best periods.
Even though he lived in that nasty old cockroach-infested place they called the Elms.
But he found the culture in Eugene, that sort of, hey, how you doing vibe, surprisingly welcoming.
And he connected with the Korean American Christian Fellowship, the KACF.
Where he experienced another kind of culture shock, seeing Korean faces speaking fluent English and genuinely wanting to worship.
But this connection also led to a really pivotal and negative moment.
Yeah, he felt punched in the gut, as he put it, by an older student leader
who criticized him for participating in a secular activity, which is just a musical play for Korea Night.
Right. And that interaction, that judgment, it led him to turn away from God and faith for a long time.
He was convinced that if that was what Christianity meant, he wanted no part of it.
It's a really powerful cautionary tale, isn't it? About how rigidity, even within a faith community, can push people away instead of drawing them in.
Absolutely. Yet even as he was turning away, that theme of God's provision popped up again.
The Rotary Ambassadorial Scholarship. Unexpected.
Yeah, it offered significant financial help. Especially crucial because the 1997 Asian financial crisis, the IMF crisis in Korea, was looming large.
That scholarship must have felt like huge validation. A sign of grace during a time of real national despair when so many others were struggling.
Definitely. From Oregon, he moved north to the University of Washington in Seattle.
Okay, and that transition was initially tough. A quiet dorm, a period of depression.
But he shares another memorable anecdote about provision there. Trying to buy a 99-cent Whopper.
With exactly $1, right? Forgetting about Washington's sales tax.
Yeah. And this sympathetic Burger King employee just covered the 3-cent difference for him.
Such a small moment, but it highlighted that constant theme in his life, God providing just enough.
It's like a tiny example of that Jehovah Jireh principle playing out in these unexpected everyday ways.
Okay, so after university, he returns to Korea and enters the corporate grind.
At K-Best, a major Korean conglomerate, or K-Ball.
His early jobs sound, well, intensely boring.
Yeah, long hours of doing absolutely nothing. Reading ESPN.com, playing computer games, because there wasn't much international work for him yet.
And he vividly describes that pervasive Korean corporate drinking culture.
Oh yeah. Somak, that's soju mixed with beer straight soju. Chimek.
At company dinners, hosing. And the immense pressure to participate.
If you didn't, you were an outsider.
Despite those early struggles, though, his career eventually took a really significant turn. Success in sports marketing.
He spent 14 years at IMG.
And he recounts working with some absolute legends of golf. Jack Nicklaus, Tom Watson, Rory McIlroy.
His first meeting with Tiger Woods sounds particularly memorable.
He was trying to be cool as a cucumber on the outside.
But inside he was screaming, "Man, I'm never washing this hand again."
And he even had the unique experience of teaching Tiger Woods how to flush a Japanese bidet toilet in Jeju.
You can't make this stuff up. It's these personal, slightly absurd details that make the story so unforgettable.
Totally. And his professional journey also intersected with a huge national turning point for Korea.
Sari Pak's 1998 U.S. Women's Open victory.
Specifically, her famous barefoot shot from the pond. That image is iconic.
And that win, it just lifted the spirits of the entire nation right in the middle of the Asian financial crisis.
Absolutely. And working with Siri later taught him a valuable lesson. Stay low, stay sharp, and stay useful.
A formula he applied throughout his career.
But the truly personal turning point, the identity turning point, came with the 2002 FIFA World Cup.
Co-hosted by Korea and Japan.
He remembers being asked as a kid, who he'd root for if Korea played America.
And he always proudly said the U.S.
Right. But during Team Korea's actual match against the U.S. in 2002, something inside him just shifted.
He found himself passionately cheering Daehanminguk, Republic of Korea, right alongside his colleagues.
That must have been such a powerful, maybe confusing moment for him.
A jarring realization, he says, that he was more Korean than I had ever admitted to myself.
Wow. That marked this huge shift, didn't it?
Yeah.
From denying his Koreanness to finally starting to embrace it.
It really speaks to how identity isn't fixed. It's this unfolding realization, often prompted by unexpected moments.
It absolutely does. And this whole journey seems to culminate in this reconciliation. of identity, purpose, family, faith.
Which raises a really important question for all of us, doesn't it? What does it actually mean to be reconciled? Not just with a faith, maybe, but with all the different, sometimes conflicting parts of ourselves.
That's a deep question. The author explains reconciliation with God as the starting point for healing all other relationships.
He connects it to 2 Corinthians 5.17-21, Paul writing about being a new creation in Christ.
And he realized this reconciliation, it was grace softening his heart, allowing him to reconnect with others and, crucially, with himself.
So the key insight there is that true self-acceptance often starts when we make peace with our foundational beliefs, our origins, whatever they may be.
Even with all his career success at IMG, he felt this void.
Yeah, leading to this strange thought that he was meant to go deeper.
And this ultimately led to his decision to pursue ministry, which happened right after a heated confrontation got him fired from IMG.
Talk about a catalyst. And his wife Jury's reaction was just incredible.
What did she say?
Something like, well, we agreed we would pray for God's timing for the right day to quit your work. I guess that day was today.
Wow. That speaks volumes about their shared values and trust, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So he sought divine confirmation for this new path.
And received 3 distinct signs during a period of prayer and fasting.
Yeah. First, Romans 12.2 kept appearing. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Okay.
Second, an unexpected phone call from his father-in-law out of the blue confirming his desire for him to enter ministry.
Whoa.
And third, his wife had this profound spiritual experience at a retreat, weeping, praying in tongues.
Those signs together must have solidified his calling, creating this clear path forward in what probably felt like a really chaotic time.
Definitely. And this new path led him to this really profound understanding of the phrase, I am.
How so?
Well, he identifies 4 ways people tend to use I am. First, as a question, am I? Uncertain.
Right.
Second, as a negative self-statement, I am stupid, I am unworthy. Third, as the self-reliant boast, I am Joe freaking Park. That kind of thing.
The ego-driven I am.
Exactly. But ultimately, he came to understand I am as a declaration made in Christ, meaning all his varied life experiences being Park Goon-suk and also Joe Park, being a Husky, a Duck, and a Seahawks fan, being the former vice president of IMG Korea, all these different facets.
They're not separate or contradictory anymore.
Right. They're all aspects of his identity held together in Christ. That's a really powerful reframing of his entire complex journey, isn't it?
Absolutely transformative perspective. It really encapsulates that core idea that all our experiences, the wins, the losses, the cultural whiplash, the personal growth,
They don't define us in isolation.
right, they get integrated into this more complete, purposeful self. It's about finding a unifying narrative for all those disparate parts of your life.
And central to this reconciliation, personally, it was meeting his wife, Jury,
Their story sounds both funny and touching. Started with an awkward blind date.
where he spent $250 and only got her number by pretending he needed a taxi ride.
Classic move.
And then there was the proposal attack, Christmas Eve, gloomy Jeju Island.
With Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You playing on repeat.
Oh, dear. And her initial answer was no, because she wanted them to pray about it first.
But then a month later, she asked him.
Yep. Their marriage, like any marriage, faced challenges, financial disagreements, communication issues.
But they ultimately found this oneness, this joy with their 3 kids, learning that self-sacrifice is key to building a shared identity.
It really highlights that even our most foundational relationships need constant growth, intentional effort.
So, wrapping this all up, what does this mean for you listening?
Well, this deep dive into a life lived between cultures, marked by both intense struggle and incredible grace. It really reveals that identity isn't some fixed point we arrive at.
No, it's a constantly unfolding story.
It's a powerful narrative about finding belonging not just in places or careers, which can change.
But in something much deeper, much more constant.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the author's final conclusion that none of his journey was a mistake, that his ultimate identity is rooted in the great I am.
It really encourages us to think critically about our own perceived mistakes and detours, doesn't it?
Definitely. It raises this important question for you to consider. In your own life, how might embracing all your experiences, the good, the bad, the confusing, as part of a potentially purposeful journey?
How might that redefine your sense of self and where you truly belong?
All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know it's a little different from what we're used to, but I hope it was fun for you guys. So until next time, be safe, and I see you guys on the next ride.